Welcome back to Crazy Dave's Crew. I'm Laura and you're watching Thursday Threads. So today I'm working on the Arkansas Crossroads. And this design was first published in the Kansas City Star in March of 1941. It is extremely versatile. It is very forgiving, I think. It does demand that you have accurate cutting. So simple, so quick. It changes, you can change your sizes, you can change your colors. It's just a marvelous little pattern. If you've not subscribed, be sure you click down and change that subscribe button from red to gray, because we have got a lot of really crazy stuff going on, and I cannot wait to share all the things that we have planned with you. So be sure to subscribe, click that bell so you're notified, and remember to come back. The next month or so is going to be crazy. So welcome to the crazy house. Let's get started. So the first thing that I want to do is make a 4-patch. And again, you decide what size you want it to be. And this is a great way to use up scraps. I would probably leave this piece, this unit, you know, kind of the same color throughout. But you could do 4 different fabrics. Use up those scraps. And very versatile. Now, because I want my 4 patches to be the same throughout, so I've got like a light blue with little stars and purple, I'm going to make my 4-patch this way. So you can cut a 5 or a 5.5 inch block. I always tend to go a little bit bigger than what I need, because you know I can always cut some off, but I can't add more on. So this is a 5 inch by 5 inch block. I'm going to take my ruler, 2.5 inches. A half of 5 is 2.5. And I'm just going to lightly draw a line. Then I'm going to use this line as my sewing guide. And I'm going to do a seam 1/4 inch to the left, and then a seam 1/4 inch to the right. And as always, I'm using my piecing foot, just standard size stitch. And I'm just putting that line that normally you would put it at the edge of the fabric. I'm actually putting that guide right on the line that I've drawn. So I've got my line here, and I have seams 1/4 inch to each side. I want to press this down, and there is a difference in pressing and ironing. Ironing, you're going to kind of go back and forth, and I don't want to stretch my fabric. So I am just going to kind of press to set everything. Make sure don't have any wrinkles. And now I'm going to cut it right on that line. I really like this Omni-Grid mat. It just folds up like a portfolio, like a book. But I have my little iron section, I have my little cutting section, and I'm good to go. So again, I'm just going to set my seam. Okay. And then, when you open it up, you have 2 pieces that look like this. Let's flip one of them. And let's draw on the back of one of them. And we're just going to, like we did the first step, go about halfway. And we're going to draw our line. And then, being pressed in opposite directions, we have got a wonderful spot there for that to just nestle in. It's nice and flat. Okay, you can see that. So it's all nice and flat. I'm going to pin that because I do not want that slipping. And I'm going to do this the other side. Again, just for precaution. Ounce of precaution's worth a pound of cure. And I bet y'all know what we're going to do next. That's right. We're going to sew a 1/4 inch seam on this side of the line and a 1/4 inch seam on that side of the line. So let's do that. Accurate cutting was probably not the right. You need accurate squaring with this one, and it's a breeze. So again, I'm just going to set my seam. Just a quick press down, and then, yep, you got it. I'm going to cut it along the line. Ta-da! Take a look at that. Is that not awesome? I love this method. If you're doing a scrappy, it's kind of hard to do it. You know, this is only if you're wanting your 4 patches to be the same. This, you know, and this one could have been different. So I'm going to press this down, and then we're going to square it. Again, setting my seam. And guys, I don't care how careful I am, I always end up with it wonky. And that's another reason, knowing my sewing pattern, I cut these a little bit bigger than what I wanted. So I'm actually going to trim these down to where they are 4-inch block. Because like I said, I can always take more off, but I can't add more on. So I'm going to take my ruler, and I'm going to set my 2-inch mark right along my seam, horizontally and vertically. So I've got 2 inches going horizontally, move it that way, and of course you can tell your diagonal. They give you plenty of areas for you to be matching things up. And then I'm going to do the other side. We had somebody ask, and I do apologize, a little bit delay in answering some of the questions, but when do you square up? This is my opinion. You square up every time you think you should. For me, it's anytime I'm putting units together, I want to make sure that I'm got nice straight lines and that everything is good to go. So I have a 4-inch block. So because this is a 4-inch block, I chose brown as my little road part, I guess. And I want this to be a 4-inch block. So always double checking. Press that down just a smidge. Be nice and straight. So I want to include my seam. So this is 2 inches with my seam is 2 1/4. If I were doing this one piece at a time, I would want 2 1/4 inch squares. So I cut some 2 1/4 inch squares. Of the pink that I'm going to use with the brown. And then I'm just going to put this right there in that corner. So again, I'm drawing my line from corner to corner on my pink. And I'm going to put one in the upper left corner, one in the bottom right corner. This time I'm going to stitch on the line. Same thing for both of these. I'm just going to stitch it right down on the line. And you can pin it or you can just eyeball it. This is one time when I am just eyeballing it. I know y'all are gasping in shock. I am the pinningest of all pinners. But this time I'm just going to lay it down here. And kind of feed it through. So I've got my pink squares and I'm going to cut it. So again, pressing my seam down. And I'm not going to cut it on the line. I'm going to use that line as a guide. So I'm going to put the little dots that show me the 1/4 inch mark. And then I'm going to cut. See? How awesome. And then do the same thing with the other side. This is another one where I would go full force assembly line. You know, I can be sitting upstairs watching TV, or you know, the kids are reading. We're working on Animal Farm right now. I think it's really important for them to read that, because it is still very applicable in today's world. So I'm going to press that down. Okay. Ta-da! And if I have it majorly sticking out, then I'll square it and try to trim it. Well, I've decided I couldn't decide which to go with the purple, so I thought both looked so pretty. So I'm making sure that this pink is next to my purple flowers. And then you will see how beautifully that matches up. Take a look at that. It's not often when everything comes together right, but, and then your seams ought to be pretty close. So I'm not going to move that around too much because I want that to match up. Put it there. And we're just going to do a 1/4 inch seam on here. And with the assembly line method, I could sit down and do all my enjoyable sewing and then do all of my pressing at a later date, you know, another time. And there we go. I tend to press it towards the 4-patch. That's just me. But that way, if I always press it the same way on each one, then when I put them together, I'll have that nice nest. Just right in there. Look at that. And everything's just matching up so nicely. Put that up there. And then we're going to sew that down. And then you have your block. Because I made these 2 1/4 inches for a 4-inch unit. So we've got 4 and 4 minus a 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch. So that means we have a 7.5 inch block. Well, if you made this to where it was a 4.5 inch block, okay, so these were 2.5 inch squares, and this was, so we got 4.5 and 4.5, then we'd have an 8.5 inch block. But you want to make sure whatever size you make your 4 patch, when put together, that's the size you need to cut. And then this piece needs to be the equivalent of this without the seams. So see what I mean? It's so easy. And I have seen some where they used, instead of 4 colors, they used 3 colors. It was absolutely beautiful, the way that they played with their fabrics. So we could do this. And I think that's wonderful. I love the way it makes the little pink butterflies, you know, kind of. Or you could put them together like that. Okay, so what I really liked about this block is how easy it was, how simple it was. It's gonna look complicated, okay? It's gonna look complicated, but it's not. You've just got little squares and a big square. So I love the ones that when they're put together, they look difficult. And people will look at it and go, oh my gracious, how did you do that? And I can just go, twerk nothing, you know, no big. You can do a lot with this, with playing with the colors. And I also love the fact that this isn't, I love doing the older patterns. So these are wonderful. So this one was a lot of fun for me. I had some starts and stops. I was really tired one night and I probably should not have been cutting, but I was, and I made some big boo-boos. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing 4-inch units. Because again, I could cut off, but I couldn't add to it. So because I made some big boo-boos, I just altered the size of my 4 patch, which altered the, you know, and then I just adjusted the size of my brown. So it's okay. Adjust. We overcome, we adapt, we improvise. And that's what you need to do. So if you make a mistake, just improvise. Deal. Smile. Ooh. Challenge. Plot twist. So here we go. Well, I hope you've liked this one. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to putting this one together. I tend to get so busy with doing blocks and different things that I never end up finishing anything. Earlier this year, I think it was January, February, I said this was my year to finish things. I have a little over a month now. I'll see what I can get done. But 2020 for sure is my year to get some things finished. So be on the lookout for me to post some pictures on Facebook under Crazy Dave's Crew, and also in our group, Sewing and Crocheting for Beginners. And I think I'm going to change the name of that. What do y'all think of sewing, crocheting, and more for beginners? That kind of opens it up a little bit. Yeah? We love to see pictures, so please be sure to send pictures. And if you've asked a question and we haven't answered it, I sincerely apologize. And just know that we will get that. So I hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you're having a wonderful week. Don't get too stressed out with the holidays, and if you need a relaxing time, just close that door and play with your fabric. So happy sewing, and we will see you next time right here on Crazy Dave's Crew. Thanks for joining us.